Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of Collider Games podcast. My name's Dennis and I'm here with Caboose. Yeah, over Skype. Missing Dorian this week again. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
He's at the Venom event. He's covering the Venom event. Venom is, I guess, the Blu-ray release is coming out soon, and I think we had Todd McFarlane in here yesterday, who was the co-creator of Venom. And I think he's going to be at this event too. So Dorian kind of skipped out on us.
Yeah,
for
it was awesome
this.
to see him on Collider Live, though. Todd McFarlane, like, he provides a good amount of insight. But unbelievable, Dorian. Where you at, man?
Yeah, and we are gonna later, midway through the show, be announcing the winner of the Xbox One X, the Incredibles 2 Custom One. Yeah. So that person will be pretty happy about that, but we'll announce that midway through the show. So what have you been doing? There's a couple things on the lineup that I know that you've been playing around with, but what games have you been playing recently in the past week?
Again, like I said, I'm usually jumping into Fortnite every week just to see the newer updates and stuff. A lot of changes have been made to updates or to Fortnite with these updates in the last couple of weeks, but outside of that, just still a little bit of Red Dead Online, and I've been just taking a bit of a break, just preparing. We got the Spider-Man DLC coming up, which we'll talk about in a bit, and yeah, just getting hyped for Mortal Kombat 11. There's a lot of excitement surrounding that game, and I'm starting to fully realize how excited I actually am for it. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Did you hear what McFarlane said about Mortal Kombat 11?
Yes, I did. About Spawn.
He's like, it's on the way. The thing about McFarlane that's great, he's got a ton of energy, and he kind of just kind of blurts out stuff. So
yeah, pretty much.
So
the reason that I wouldn't say, though, that it confirms Spawn will be in the game is because Todd McFarlane has been saying for a while now that WB owns that IP apparently, and they could just use it in the games if they wanted to, but from what I can tell, that hasn't necessarily been the case. But I mean, we'll see. I think that Spawn has as close of a chance as you'll ever get with Mortal Kombat 11 to show up in a NetherRealm game. So
cool.
We'll see.
All right. So let's talk about the first topic, Anthem. They released a Legion of Dawn edition trailer. Did you get a chance to check that out?
I did, and Anthem. I'm kind of going in cautiously optimistic. There's a lot that looks really cool and really fun, and the sci-fi elements of it look awesome, but it's also EA. So I'm being very careful. I'm tiptoeing around this one. So, but I mean, that trailer did look cool. Yeah,
I mean, the thing is, everything visually from Anthem I've seen looks great. Yeah. They do a lot of these, kind of story, I wouldn't say story trailers, but they try to mix in the storyline with it.
Right.
I can't tell yet, though, if the story's going to pull me in. You know what I mean?
Right. I feel the same way.
I'm not sure yet. I mean, this Legion of the Dawn one was kind of about the premise of how, I guess, this all started, and it has kind of it reminded me of the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring when they talk about Isildur taking out Sauron and getting the ring. They kind of had that feel because they talked about her that made the sacrifice to take out the big bad, and so I just kind of got those kind of feels from it. But I still can't tell though how much story, because even though they're talking about all the story, a lot of the gameplay just looks like you flying around just fighting people.
It's true. It does look like the gameplay could potentially get a little repetitive. I'm hoping, because I have the same sentiment as you, is where the story just doesn't look like it's drawing me in too much. I hope I'm proven wrong, if I get my hands on the game.
Me too.
So in the case, in the worst case scenario that the story just isn't very strong, I hope that a lot can be made up in the gameplay. So, like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. Even if the story and the gameplay is great, it's still EA. So,
are you worried about microtransactions or something like that, or?
Yeah, that, and just they've had a bit of a mantra for since I think last year, where they said stuff like, consumers just aren't looking for single player games anymore, which this year has proven that wrong, if there ever has been a year to prove that wrong.
Yes, and we'll be talking about that later too as well. So
right, so I'm just scared that, for them to internally feel that way about the games that they're creating, it might show. We might get something like Anthem that has a ton of potential, but is just held back because they're like, oh, just jam in as much multiplayer content in there as possible, rather than focusing on a well-written story with fleshed out characters or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is a multiplayer component to this. They talk about it, kind of a free roam, and who knows what kind of microtransactions are going to be implemented in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like you. I'm cautiously optimistic. It's from BioWare, makers of Mass Effect and Dragon Age. So the pedigree is there. I'm just, let's see what happens with that. So all right, let's move on to the second topic. Something you did a little video on, the Spider-Man DLC, the final one, called Silver Linings. It's coming out December 21st, which I believe is next Friday.
Yep.
For $9.99, it focuses on Silver Sable. They have the suits, Into the Spider-Verse suit, Cyborg Man, and Aaron Eichmann armor. So tell us a little bit about this.
So yeah, we're taking off what we got with Turf Wars, and then of course, as well what we had in the heist, in that Silver Sable, like her equipment is being stolen and used by the Maggia, like these crime families. So now she's finally like back in New York City. She looks pissed off. She's like, why are you guys using my stuff? And she's mad at Spider-Man too for allowing it to happen, basically. And I think the weirdest part of the trailer that really caught me off guard is you see Hammerhead for a brief second in like this fully mech suit. But it looks like he's completely cybernetic. Like he doesn't have a normal human body. He's just attached his head to like this exoskeleton. So I don't know what's happening there. They full on like Frankenstein monstered him. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. They're setting up some things with Yuri as well. The police officer we saw in the base game, and of course she played a big role in Turf Wars. It seems they're setting her up for her comic book counterpart, where she plays the role of Wraith in the comic books. She's on administrative leave after what she was doing in the last DLC. She was taking it a little too far. She pretty much tried to kill Hammerhead, just shoot him in cold blood. So a lot of cool things are being set up here. I personally enjoy the 3 suits that were added. The Spider-Verse suit I am most excited to see in action, because after having seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and the animation style, if they can replicate that when you're moving with that suit and it's in motion, it could be potentially like one of the coolest suits in the game, for sure. I know a lot of people are not a big fan of the Cyborg suit and the Dr. Aikman suit. I think they look fine. The Cyborg suit, I know in the comics, it's a very serious story about Spider-Man like almost dying and then being brought back to life, half robot. But I think just for the purposes of this game, it looks a little goofy, and I embrace that. It just looks fun and goofy and a little dumb, but I embrace it. I'm sure it'll be a ton of fun to be swinging around with it and to mess around in photo mode with it. And then the other suit, I can understand the complaints a lot of people are coming from because it's very armored, and there's a lot of armored suits in the game already. For me, I like that stuff. I like the metallic look and the shine and everything. Photo mode is so much fun to play around with suits like that. But I know the biggest complaint that the community has is that there's no Raimi suit in Spider-Man PS4. Now that this is the last DLC, it pretty much means like the shots of a Raimi suit being in the game are slim to none. That is, even if Insomniac releases any more content after this expansion, which I'm thinking they probably won't, but we'll see. And to an extent, I can understand. The Raimi suit is so cool looking. It would have been great to have it in this game. But like, it's not up to Insomniac. I'm sure that's a Sony decision where they're like, listen, we want people focusing on the current iterations of Spider-Man. We don't want to put this suit in the game to take that focus away from these current iterations of Spider-Man. So that's why we have every MCU suit in the game right now. That's why we are getting the Spider-Verse suit in the game, because it just works. It reminds people and lets people know of the more recent versions of Spider-Man. I would have loved to have the Raimi suit, but it is what it is. Like, people are harassing Insomniac on Twitter about it and just taking it way too far when it's probably not even up to them. Like, they don't even make the decision on that.
Fans taking things too far now. That's
I know. What a surprise.
That doesn't happen. So you believe this is going to be the final one? They're not going to come out with any more. You think they're going to focus on whatever their next game is, whether it's a Spider-Man 2 or something else?
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to be shifting the focus now to working on the sequel. I think, if anything, if we do get additional DLC, it'll probably just be like suit packs. I don't think we'll get anything story related. Like, this will be it to conclude Spider-Man PS4 story, and then we'll wait until the next game to get more of that. But we might get some more DLC suits down the line. Like, never say never. You know, you never know when they could be just sitting around. They have a 3D model ready, and they're like, why don't we just throw this in the game? We have the permission to do so. Let's do it. You know?
What's the total number on the suits right now? Do you know? Do you have any idea?
I think with the DLC included, we're coming close to 40.
Wow.
If I'm correct. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we're coming close to 40 alternate suits. I can't remember the exact number. I think there's 28 in the base game, and then there's 9 DLC. So what is that? 37 around there? So that's I think it's pretty good. I mean, I know some people aren't happy with the suit selection. You can't please everyone. There's always going to be one person out there who's like, I wanted this suit and we didn't get it. You know, they could add every last Spider-Man suit except that one.
Listen, I played the Spider-Man game that was on the Sega Genesis. All right, you got one suit.
Yeah.
You got the red and blue suit. That's it. And you were happy. You were just happy to be playing a Spider-Man video game that was actually good, because I remember that game. Yeah, I loved that game. Anything else about Spider-Man, the DLC?
No, that's it. Like I said, you know, it comes out December 21st, and I'm excited to try it, see how they wrap things up.
Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to the next topic. This is something that I have a lot of thoughts on, but I don't know what your background history with Sonic the Hedgehog is. I mean, Sonic the Hedgehog, to me, you know, like, I come from, you know, I mean, obviously I played like Atari when it came out, but really my like heyday of like really playing like video games nonstop was like in that 8-bit and 16-bit era, which was, you know, Nintendo versus Sega, which was funny because right now it's Xbox or Microsoft versus Sony with kind of Nintendo on the side.
Yeah.
And kind of Mario, obviously he represented Nintendo, and Sonic represented Sega. And now Sega doesn't have a system, and they actually have their games on Nintendo and other systems. But so what's your history with this character?
I know, like, I haven't played a ton of Sonic games. I've played them for sure. Like, I've played Sonic. So I think I know what we're leading into here based on what we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a very distinct iteration of Sonic that I can recognize just by seeing it. And yeah, I don't have a crazy extensive background. I don't know too much about the character. I know he runs fast.
Yeah. So we're talking about this because a movie poster was released for Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. Like, it's going to be released next year, November 8th, 2019. And it's, you know, the first thing I questioned before I even saw this poster, and this was, I don't know how many months ago, it could have been earlier this year, but when they said, okay, this is going to be a live action version. Yeah. So obviously they're not.
Chris Pratt's involved, right?
Huh?
Is Chris Pratt in the movie?
I think he was at some point, but I don't think he is anymore, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, let me double check real quick. But yeah, the first thing I question is because anyone who's followed me on like Movie Talk, Collider Movie Talk, knows that I have like a bad reaction to these live actions movies that have cartoon characters, things like Smurfs, Chipmunks.
Right.
They creep me out. I think they're terrible. The only one that ever worked for me was Paddington. And actually that looked like I had a reverse reaction to it when I first saw the trailer. And then when I finally saw the movie, I actually really liked it. But like this turning these these cartoon characters into like placed in these live action universes, like, yeah, though that already has like, turned me off.
Trigger
and then,
warnings, yeah.
Yes. And then they released this poster. Let me double check this casting. So it's Jim Carrey is Robotnik.
Oh wow.
Ben Schwartz is Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay.
James Marsden is Tom Wachowski. I don't know who that is. Yeah. So that's the main cast there. The people that
okay.
that I recognize. So they release this poster, and usually when they release a movie poster, a trailer drops the next day. This is just usually. It doesn't mean all the time, but the poster came out, I think, earlier this week. So we were expecting a trailer. Didn't happen. But purely based on this poster, which has Sonic the Hedgehog basically in silhouette, and
he looks all humanoid.
Yes, that freaked me out. I mean, I told you I'm already freaked out by this stuff. I think it's creepy looking. This is not Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know what the hell this man beast thing is. First of all, hedgehogs don't have fur. And why? Why does he have like it almost looks like a character from the Rampage movie, the one that Dwayne The Rock Johnson was in.
That's a good way to put it.
It's like this hairy, almost gorilla beast style. Look, it's in the shadows, so I can't see his face, but already from the body type, like that is not Sonic the Hedgehog. This is why, like, number one, I did not want this to be a live action movie.
Yeah.
Like it should have been an anime thing, like Angry Birds or something like that. Or Wreck-It Ralph, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know
it just doesn't work in this setting. I think as an animated movie, it could have been a lot more beneficial. And it's just weird. You see Sonic and you think of the giant shoes and the big gloves. The
belly,
it just looks
the pot belly.
This just looks weird to see. Like he's got like limbs. Like normal limbs. It doesn't feel right.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. I didn't understand the decision for the live action, and then so I was like, just holding out all hope that they had a creative reason for that, and right now it's not looking good. It's not looking good. There was another poster that was leaked, so they released this like official poster, and then there was another poster that was, I think, leaked. I forgot from where. It was like a physical poster that someone took a picture of. And it's like
he's sitting on like a bridge.
So yeah, and you can see his feet.
Yeah,
and they're like all hairy and like. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand the choices that are being made.
Yeah,
just make an animated 3D animated. First of all, kids love 3D animated movies. I don't know. I haven't seen
Spider-Verse is about to come out, and that's going to make like gangbusters at the box office, and that's a character that totally benefits from being live action, but still they just went ahead and made an animated movie. Like Sonic could have worked so perfectly.
Yeah, I don't know. This thing's going to be creepy. It's going to freak people out. Because if it's for kids, don't you want it to be like cute and cuddly like the way Sonic is in the cartoon form?
Yeah.
I mean, there was that TV series, that animated TV series he had that what's his face from Family Matters, Urkel from Family Matters. I forgot why am I Jaleel White, I think that's his name. Voices his character of Sonic, and so I just don't get it. And then Tails, like what's Tails gonna look like?
Is he gonna be in the movie? Do we know that for sure?
Let me look at that IMDb.
I mean, I tell you what I am excited for. If there's one thing that I got to point out, it's Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. I think that's a pretty cool idea. But outside of that,
yeah,
I don't know about this.
I don't see I don't see Tails on here. I mean, he could show up. I mean, they do have some people's names that don't have character names next to them. Who knows?
Right.
Possible. Yeah. Jim Carrey, yes. Let's see here. Tim Miller's executive producer. Interesting. Tim Miller's, he directed Deadpool. He's directing the new Terminator movie. I just saw him at that Avengers Infinity War. I don't know.
I think this is like a directorial debut too for the director.
Jeff Fowler, yeah.
He's only done a short before this.
Yeah, he did visual effects for Where the Wild Things Are, which is actually
I heard that's great.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, and somehow this is gonna be pulled off.
You never know.
Just right now, like, okay, the fur I could live with. The body shape is what I think bothers me the most.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone is most weirded out by, is that he has like actual arms and legs and stuff. You know, it just doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right.
He doesn't have cartoon arms and legs. He doesn't have a cartoon body. Like people were complaining about Pikachu in the Detective Pikachu movie, because he had fur. Because, you know, in the cartoons, like, they draw him as flat. They don't want to. The same thing happened when I don't know if you watched the Peanuts movie.
I didn't watch it. But...
Okay, with like Snoopy, like when they like kind of got closer up to him, you could see that he had fur. It was a little disorienting, but
I think Detective Pikachu looks phenomenal.
That's
the CG there looks so good.
Every Pokemon, see, like, was it last week, 2 weeks ago when Dorian was talking about Pokemon? I was like, what? Mm-hmm. I don't know what you're talking about. So I don't know. In terms of that, maybe that'll be the first like big video game movie. Who knows? Mm-hmm. I'm just very skeptical about this Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And then I'm wondering, like, did they plan to drop the trailer and then stopped, or did they always just say, okay, we're just gonna put out this poster and then we'll wait?
I mean, I can't imagine, because usually when they drop a poster like that, the trailer follows like immediately. Yeah. So I can't imagine they were able to even receive enough feedback at that point to be like, okay, let's hold off on the trailer. I'm assuming just the trailer probably wasn't supposed to come out until a little bit later.
Yeah. All right. So that's something we'll keep our eye on amongst many other things. Yeah. Did we talk about? I remember it came up. I don't remember if we talked about the Halo TV series. How there's a little tangent here. The Halo TV series lost their director.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know about this.
Yes.
Actually, did we talk about this?
Yeah, we might have.
Now I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to access the memory bank to see.
Yeah.
Did we? I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember talking about with people here in the studio. But the Halo director Rupert Wyatt, who had done the first Rise of the Planet of the Apes remake. And so everyone was excited. This is reported December 3rd. I don't think we talked about it.
I don't think we did then either. That's so upsetting. It's like this Halo franchise is destined to fail live action, and I feel like out of all the video game properties that they've tried to translate into live action, Halo is the one that works or could work the most. It's sci-fi. Just stop. I hate that they keep trying to do these stories about like the Marines or the ODST. Just make it about Master Chief. Do what the games are doing. Master Chief is a central character with Cortana involved as well. And whether they're going after the Flood or the Covenant, get Arbiter in there, like just do what the games did and try and condense it into a 2-hour movie. And hopefully it does great. It's critically successful and you get an awesome franchise out of it. It's so upsetting that this game can't be made into live action.
Yeah, it's Showtime ordered a 10-episode series and it's been in development for years. And that's So I don't think they've talked about who's replacing him yet, and obviously it's the holiday season. If people don't know, even though the holiday season is actually a huge time for movies and video games, the actual behind the scenes business starts to shut down. So all these movies are Christmas or December is a huge month for movies. We're gonna get.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see Bumblebee tonight.
Oh, it's so good.
You saw it already?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's incredible.
Great. See, I'm one of those people that I'm a hater of the Bayformers.
Oh, I hate them too.
Yeah, and I'm a G1 guy, like a Generation 1. Like I grew up on Transformers, and I heard, with the designs that we've seen in that, and then what I've been hearing about this movie, I'm dying to go see it. But anyways, so that movie's coming out. Aquaman, which I've already seen, comes out. Into the Spider-Verse, which I've already seen, is coming out. So all these big movies. Mary Poppins Returns. What else am I missing? There's a lot of big movies coming out in December, but then the actual business of Hollywood actually starts to wind down. People are not conducting a lot of business, so I expect them not to pick up a director until the new year at some point.
Yep, I wouldn't doubt that. I just hope they move forward with this and they're actually able to just make the product. I want to see Halo in live action so bad, and I know in the proper hands with the right direction, it can be done so well, but it's just we haven't had that chance yet.
Yeah, I mean Neil Blomkamp did those short little mini movies,
which was as close as I think we'll get to that version of Halo that I wanted to see from him.
We'll see. All right. Moving on to the next topic. Nintendo would absolutely love Red Dead 2 on the Switch. Not going to happen. And they know it's not going to happen. They mentioned that, they said that Red Dead 2 had been in development way before the Switch was kind of in development and had reached out to developers to work on it. Red Dead 2, it'd be cool to be able to play the game on the go, but you're talking about significant graphics reduction there.
A lot of sacrifices would have to be made to make it work on the Switch.
Yeah. And also, let's call it what it is. Nintendo is geared more for kids. Look, I know plenty of adults play it. We got people here that play it. But in general, the games that they are selling, they're not super violent. There's, Red Dead 2 is violent. They're swearing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not exactly.
They do have M-rated games. I think Doom is available on the Switch. But you're right. The Switch is marketed as a family-friendly device.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Look, when I was younger, I did not have any portable systems, but I wanted a Game Boy. I wanted what was that called? Game Gear, Sega Game Gear.
Yeah.
Nomad, which was the Sega one they could play Genesis game. I wanted these things. Didn't get them. Nowadays, as an older person, not that I don't want these things. I'd love to have a Switch. I don't have time to play anything on the go. You know what I mean? Everyone has these things, cell phones, right?
Yeah.
One, I don't play games on this either because this is, I watch videos. Obviously, I text, message, social media, internet, email. I do work on here. That's what that's for. And I've played some mobile games before. It's not that they aren't fun. It's just one, it drains the battery, and two, it sucks up a lot of time that I don't have. I want to play the games on my console. So that's why I'm just saying this is, sure it would sell well, I would say. I don't know if it would be worth it for Rockstar, even if they had, if Nintendo Switch had come to them early in the development cycle and said, hey, we'd love for you guys to develop on here. I'm wondering if they would have,
I honestly doubt they would have because like I said right at the top, a lot, not just graphically, but a lot of gameplay sacrifices would have to be made just so the game can just run on the Switch, let alone run well or work properly and not be filled with bugs, just so the game can run. There would have to be a lot toned down with what makes Red Dead 2 so good. And I mean, me too. You know, I wouldn't mind Red Dead 2 coming to Switch if it managed to be in a perfect state in some way and just have it available on the go, because I'm getting a Switch really soon. I saw Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, you know, and it's exclusive to Switch. I'm all over it now. And now MK11 as well coming to Switch. I think that should be a lot of fun to play around with. But, you know, before then, the Switch was always something that was... It's weird. The Nintendo products is always something where, like, my friend has it, and I have so much fun playing with it, but I never buy one myself. I don't know what it is about it. The games look fantastic. Smash Brothers look great. Mario Tennis looks like so much fun. Mario Odyssey, Legend of Zelda. But I don't know. I just never felt the urge to take the leap and buy the Switch. And now Ultimate Alliance 3 is coming, so I'm going to.
Wendy has a Switch. She's actually going to bring in Super Smash Brothers in, I think, tomorrow during our holiday party, and we're going to play around with that, and she's going to review it for us here on Collider Games. But I know she has one. I know Frank has one. I don't know if Copser or Cody have one, because I know they were talking about Pokemon. So
that Let's Go.
Yeah. So I guess whenever that comes out, maybe that's when they'll purchase the system.
I think it is out.
Is
Pokemon.
it?
Yeah, so.
Okay. Well, maybe they're playing. So anyways, yeah, I just don't know if they would even do it. I think it's just this quote was from the Nintendo of America executive Reggie Fils-Aime. He said he'd love it for it, but he said it was a development cycle issue. But yeah, I just don't know if that would actually work out or pan out. All right, let's move on to our next topic. This one is, I just want to bring this up. It's not like big news, but it kind of goes into what you were talking about earlier about single player experiences.
Yeah.
And Sony executive comes out and says, our players demand single player experiences. This was Warwick Light, who is the vice president and managing director for the UK, IE, and Australia at Sony Interactive Entertainment Europe. Yeah, I mean, it was a big year for single player games. You have, you know, God of War, Spider-Man. He mentioned Detroit. Yeah. You know, Red Dead Redemption. Yes, there is a multiplayer component, but you know, the main draw.
It launched as a single player.
Yeah, you're buying it for the single player. Yeah. Not that the multiplayer isn't fun or worth playing. It's just I bought it for the single player. So this is something that I think they have proof of, you know, with the success of the PlayStation. I mean, the PlayStation has outsold the Xbox One X, and it's due to their, you know, exclusive games.
Yep.
And these exclusive games are mostly, if not all, single player, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I mean,
God of War, Spider-Man, Last of Us, Uncharted.
Last of Us did have multiplayer, but obviously, like, the focus to that game is the single player.
Yeah,
you know, you could not have an online connection and still find all the value you would get out of The Last of Us.
Yeah, and I think Microsoft has learned that lesson in the sense of, okay, they have bought up a bunch of smaller studios, and then they haven't said this outright, but I have a feeling they want to concentrate on big single-player games with huge scope. Like, I mean, because that's, you know, a Last of Us, an Uncharted, a God of War, Spider-Man. These are the thing exclusives that are selling the PlayStation 4. Yeah, these are the thing driving, because you know what, like third-party game, a Red Dead, let's say Red Dead Redemption 2. I have an Xbox One. I think it's great on there. I'm sure it's great on the PlayStation as well. No real difference, right? It's a masterpiece of the game that, all in all, it probably plays exactly the same on both systems.
And to be completely fair, to be as unbiased as possible, the One X is the most powerful console out there right now. And if you want your games to look their best, Red Dead 2 will look and perform its best on the One X. It's not to say it performs poorly on the PlayStation.
No.
It's just at the at the maximum Red Dead 2 can perform is on the One X. But when it comes to exclusives, like PlayStation has been dominating the market.
Yeah. I think they did like a graphical test on Red Dead 2, and I think it went Xbox One X looked the best. Then obviously Sony, the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Yeah.
Then the PlayStation 4, and then I think Xbox One, the regular edition, I think was the lowest graphically. And look, yes, there are differences, but I mean, they aren't, you know what I mean?
So minor. Yeah.
Yeah. The game's not going to be like, oh my God, this game looks like crap, you know, if you're playing on the regular PS4 or the regular Xbox One. So, but as far as exclusives, yeah, I think that's what Microsoft is doing. They're, supposedly building these quadruple A studios and getting all these big players in terms of directors and writers from all these big games into their new studio that was it the Initiative? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think that is what they're going to concentrate on. I mean, I don't think, because the whole thing about multiplayer games is, and I want this to be the standard, is multiplayer games should be cross-platform no matter what the game is, like how Fortnite is now that, Sony has kind of changed their tune, at least for that game, because it's so big. That's how I feel. I feel like I would love, like, if Red Dead Online, if we were playing on the Xbox One, we could play with our friends here at Collider that are, on the PlayStation 4.
Yep.
So I feel like the direction of single player is the right choice. But what I feel sad about is then everyone that let's say in the next generation, Microsoft does what they plan on doing in like to rival Sony, and they get these exclusive, really big, large AAA games that are single player experiences. And then PlayStation keeps doing what they're already doing well. Then you have two systems that you have to, you know what I mean? Like, all right, here you got to play this game on this one and this one,
I know what you mean. For the consumer's wallet, it's maybe not the most friendly environment. Yeah. But I gotta say, I like that Xbox right now are the underdogs. I like that they kind of have to punch up a little bit because it lets me know that they're going to do whatever possible to put out some good quality games for people to enjoy, whether that's single player or multiplayer experiences. They want to put out some exclusives that people are going to be like, this is The Last of Us for the Xbox. This is like the Spider-Man for the Xbox. They want to do that. It's the same situation with like Marvel and DC movies. The Marvel movies are succeeding, like they're making money hand over fist, and the DC films, while they still make quite a bit of money, they're not necessarily critically successful, and they want to reach that level. So when you're an underdog like that, you work harder to put out a better product. And I feel that, that can only mean good things, especially coming from Xbox. Phil Spencer is doing a great job, I think, right now. And a lot of the talent they've hired, a lot of the people that they're getting on their team to work on these new quadruple A games. I'm sure in the next gen, we'll see a great wave of video games that may not be the best for our wallets, admittedly. It may not be the best for consumers to be spending a ton of money, but at the end of the day, good games are good games. Whatever console we get them on, as long as PlayStation's still doing what they're doing and they're putting out fantastic games, then you can just stay on the PlayStation. Or if you want to stick with an Xbox and maybe invest in them a little bit, I'm sure they're going to be bringing out some pretty cool looking games in these next couple of years.
Yeah. Competition definitely breeds better games and more improvements. I was sad when Scalebound, one of the Microsoft exclusives, was canceled. I hope they maybe try and resurrect it maybe for the next generation.
It's crossed.
Yeah. But yeah, like for myself, like as I get older, I veer less on the multiplayer. Not that I don't play it anymore. Like I still play, you know, obviously Red Dead Online. We've been playing Fallout 76, Halo. I still play it. I just don't play the multiplayer as much as I used to. I'm definitely more into the single player. Like, you know, when I was in college, it was like, I was playing StarCraft. That was like all multiplayer. Counter-Strike, all multiplayer. You know what I mean? Like even like the first Halo was like, oh yeah, you wanted to play like you'd have like LAN parties with a bunch of different Xboxes and we're playing on split screens like 4-on-4. You know, like And then now it's like as I'm older, I'm like, I just want to sit here and like I want to play this game and kind of get immersed into that world and I want to experience a story and characters and whatnot. What's your ratio right now? Like if you were to say multiplayer, because count Fortnite and whatnot,
right?
Like what's your percentage of time playing multiplayer? What's your percentage of time playing single player?
I think I'm definitely playing more multiplayer than I am single player, but I still like. I'm itching for more single player experiences. You know, I can understand when developers and stuff take a look at the gaming industry and they're like, you know what, it seems to be very multiplayer dominant because you have games like Fortnite, like Overwatch that just run the show on the multiplayer side of things. And they're not just the biggest multiplayer games. They're some of the biggest games of all time. But I feel like even then, even looking at a game like Fortnite, that is strictly a multiplayer game, has no story whatsoever, unless you're playing like the Save the World version, which even then, you know, it's a very loose kind of story. You know, it's more of just a co-op experience, if anything. But even then, even in a game which is pretty much multiplayer only, people like you'll go to the Reddits and people will find the lore and they'll try and create their own story because everyone's eager and itching for some sort of story. Overwatch, they send out these cool little shorts on each of the characters that gives us an idea of their origin, and people love and eat that stuff up because we're getting story. So at the end of the day, no matter the consumer, even if Overwatch is one of the biggest games, even if Fortnite is one of the biggest games, everyone loves a single player story experience. And the right game that comes along, people will go out and buy. Red Dead 2 is one of the most highest selling games in like its opening weekend. And it launched as a single-player game. There was no promise of online on the day that it launched. Spider-Man sold so many copies, and it sold a lot of PlayStations. And that's
for sure.
You know? So there's just people want single-player games, but it's not to say that multiplayer games are bad or anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Coy, who hosts Collider Heroes with Amy Dallin, huge Spider-Man fan. He said he hadn't played video games in I don't know how many years. I want to say like 10 years or something like that. And he bought the Spider-Man PS4 console, the cool one that had it's like red. Yeah, the ones with the red with the Spider-Man logo on it. Like it's looks so cool.
Yeah.
And he bought that because it was Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there you have someone who it's not just like, ooh, I have an Xbox One. And I really want to play Spider-Man, so I'm just going to buy an Xbox or a PS4. It's like this guy came out of video game retirement, in a sense, to play the. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. Is like when you have those type of exclusive single-player games. I will say multiplayer. There's something drug addicting about multiplayer games, and that's just probably like why I don't play them like I used to, and why I purposely did not purchase StarCraft 2, even though StarCraft 1 was like one of my favorite games of all time and probably the game I've played the most ever. Purposely didn't buy that. Purposely didn't buy a World of Warcraft. Purposely didn't buy Knights of the Old Republic. Not the BioWare RPG, but the MMO.
Yeah.
Because I knew I would get addicted to those things. Because the thing about multiplayer is like you always want more. There's no end. There's like you just so if you perform badly, you get upset yourself and you want to go back again and play well.
It's what makes Fortnite like one of the most addicting games. Is you want that #1 victory, or you just keep coming back because it's like every week there's a new update, there's a new gun, there's a new item, new skins to buy. So yeah, no, definitely, it's very addicting.
Yeah. I'm sure that's something we'll keep talking about as our podcast series goes on.
Right.
Are we allowed to talk about what you're doing in January?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I mean, a lot of people have, and honestly, me just saying that probably gives it away.
Okay.
But as of right now, I don't think I'm allowed just yet.
But we can say that you're coming to LA in January.
Sure.
Yeah. So you will be here in LA.
In studio.
In studio, so we finally can do the podcast face to face. I mean, you've been to the studio before, but that was before you started really working with us.
Yeah. Dorian brought me out. I came to watch a Schmodown, which was
nice.
Fun. Yeah, so I've been to the studio.
Cool. Yeah.
Never in this
capacity. So yeah. So when you come out here, we'll definitely do a podcast and do some other cool things.
Sure.
Last thing on this is just some Fallout 76 updates. They released a new patch, about 5 gigs on the PS4, 3 gigs on the Xbox One. They improved some stuff like the camp system, where I think before, when you try to lay down a camp and then there was like small rocks or trees or something like that, you weren't able to put it down, you know?
Oh, okay.
And you'd have to like put it somewhere else. Now, like automatically, it like just pushes those things, clears it out, so you can put your camp down. Also, just like if you enter a new game, you will put your camp down, it will automatically set it where you had it before if someone else hasn't taken that spot already.
Okay.
And if someone hasn't, or someone has, then they give you the option to put it somewhere else, but they don't, like, there's no charge, I guess. No charge for that. On the flip side of good things, because I think those are good positive updates, on the bad side, they, introduced an ultra-wide mode. But apparently the ultra-wide mode wasn't a real ultra-wide mode. Like, I actually have a 21:9. Actually, I have two 21:9 screens in my office. I bought them for editing, not for gaming. But for the Fallout 76 PC version, they introduced an ultra-wide mode, but people discovered it really wasn't real. It's all they did was stretch. It's similar to like if you have a 16:9 TV, right?
Yeah.
And you're playing something that either like the scope is like different, and you want to like, you can either stretch it out, to fill the whole screen or whatnot. So you don't get the correct aspect ratio. It just stretches it. So that's what Fallout 76, the ultra wide mode is. And they just basically changed like, I think like a line of code in there to just stretch the picture out, which is not true. Ultra wide mode is like you actually get to see more on the side
the screen.
Yes.
Yeah, so they just stretch the resolution.
And the biggest giveaway is text.
Oh my god,
the biggest giveaway is text, right? Because text needs to looks a certain way.
Yeah.
And once you put text in, or like anything that it's supposed to be like a square box and becomes a rectangle, or you know what I mean, like something that's a circle becomes an oval.
No.
So
it never ends. It never ends.
Yeah, they are just, and it's one of those things too. Like, that's a minor thing that's not affecting a ton of people, or whatnot. And then we talk about the camp thing. It's like, man, eventually this game could be good and fun, but man, I feel like a long ways away. So if they're only improving like little tiny things, it's been out a month now. I think it's been a month, right? I think it's November 11th was the release date. So
it's probably been close to a month, I imagine.
Yeah, and so we'll see. Anything else before we go? Any news that caught your eye, or any game? Any game notes about anything?
I mean,
how's Red Dead going online?
I mean, yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's good. I don't think I got my rewards yet. I gotta remember. I can't remember, but I know like some people will be getting the rewards in like the next 2 days, pretty much.
How is the balancing? Have they balanced the economy?
Yeah, I think it's still probably needs a little more fine tuning. It's a lot better for sure than it was. Like a lot of the prices on things were axed like a good 40%. So yeah, things are still a little expensive. You know, it's a little. There's just stuff in online that I feel they really misfired on, like the fact that there's no trapper. You know, it gives me no reason to actually try and hunt. Like, I thought it would have been really cool to have the trapper in the online as well, so you can get some cool clothing and stuff and really show off, you know, how much of a badass you are. Because you can do that in single player, but there's no one really to show it to unless you posted a video. Whereas in online, like if I hunted a legendary animal and I got the cool hat or the cool jacket off of that from the trapper, I could show that. Everyone who sees me in the lobby is like, oh, that guy got that legendary animal, you know. And I wish they would do something like that, and maybe they will at it. You know, the excuse that everyone keeps giving for Red Dead Online is it's just the beta, so wait and see. But there's stuff that just it's so obvious they should have added into the online mode that they didn't. You know, but it's not horrible. It's in a lot better of a state right now than it was 2 weeks ago. That's for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's a little more forgiving. Like I said before in a previous episode, people bought Red Dead for the main game, and this is like almost a bonus. I think that's the problem with Fallout 76. There is no main single player campaign. You know what I mean? And like, so the multiplayer, that's it. So when the multiplayer feels so empty, so buggy, so many issues, gameplay issue, people are less forgiving. Like if there had been like a full on, let's say, look, maybe it wasn't going to be 80-hour game like Fallout 4, Fallout 3, New Vegas or whatnot. But let's say it was a 20, 30-hour experience, single-player experience, and they gave you this multiplayer on top of that. I think people would be more forgiving, but no, people are upset. People are very upset. Oh, before we go, the winner of the Incredibles custom Xbox One X. They were giving away. Also, there's a bunch of other things that come with it. I think some Funko Pops, some plush toys, whatnot. All right, here we go. The winner on Twitter is Corey W. at Shawshank Stank. You have won an Xbox One X. We will be reaching out to you and figuring out how we're going to send that over to you.
Congratulations to Corey.
Yes, Corey. And so, if you didn't win, don't worry. We'll have more giveaways. We've given away a ton of stuff before. Like I mentioned, we gave away, what was it? The Sea of Thieves Chips Ahoy package, which I think it came with like a game, a custom controller, Game Pass, and a headset. We gave away 4 of those. We've given away, I'm trying to think what else did we give away. Oh, why am I blanking? Well, I mean, we've had a bunch of free screenings to stuff like Infinity War, Into the Spider-Verse.
Which I'm super jealous.
Yeah, Aquaman. Actually, tonight I can't go to that because I'm going to Bumblebee, and I already saw Aquaman, but we actually have a screening of that tonight. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm sure we'll be giving away some more stuff and have a lot of cool things coming down the way. So Caboose, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CabooseEK, and then of course right here on the Collider Games channel, bringing you some coverage on all gaming and news.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero or on Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/ColliderGames. Also, subscribe to our podcast network. We're actually on the Collider Factory feed. And also, we have feeds for Movie Talk, Heroes, Jedi Council, Sports, which I host a MMA Takedown, cover a bunch of stuff in the world of mixed martial arts. A whole bunch of other stuff. So, until next time, we'll see you guys later.